All right, welcome, slot car race fans. We are live from Austin, Texas, in the Austin Slot Car Club's headquarters, where we are going to be running the third round and the final round from Austin of the Great Texas Slotted DTM Proxy Shootout. That's a mouthful. So this will be the third race, and although it's on the same track as I talked about previously, in this proxy race, even though we're racing on the same track 3 times here and 3 times in Houston, the track is different each and every time. So it behaves different, it acts different, and the cars hook up on it very differently. So for an example, today we've got an outside temperature of 63 and an inside temperature of 68 and a track temp of 65. So those are significantly cooler all the way around than what we had in the second round. So it's the track definitely behaves different. And warm up this morning, with all the cars out there, the traction was amazing. So the cars definitely like the cooler temps, the tires like the cooler temps, and the track times that were set this morning were in practice were impressive. So if you've got a car that can handle the tires being sticky and grippy and hook up, your car will do very, very well today. So it will probably see a little bit of difference between the runners. So we'll get a chance to see right now going into this round of the proxy. We've got uh, we've got David from the Austin Club first, Ari from the Austin Club second, Alejandro from Austin third. So the first 7 cars are all Austin cars. Then we have Paul from Houston with the first Houston car in the 8th spot. And then we have 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, all occupied by the Houston club. So it's going to be, this might be their opportunity here to get back and gain some ground before the cars do go to Houston, where those cars will naturally have an advantage because they'll be on their home track. So I'm not totally surprised to see the Austin cars, the top. These guys have run this track for a while, so it's not their first rodeo by any means. They're used to the track. They know how to set up the cars for it. Pretty significant differences in setup of the cars between what you've got in Houston and what we run here in Austin. So we've got, for example, on the tire choice, we run Shore 30s. Some of the competitors here have chosen to run the N22s, which are a little stickier tire. The cooler the track temp is, the better the N22s hook up. So I'm sure that that'll have an advantage today. So we run those tires. We're at Houston. They primarily run the C1 or the stock tire that comes on these cars. So very different tire selection between them. This track, we run the deep wood guide. We take advantage of that. Whereas in the Houston track, the turns are significantly tighter, and so they cannot run a deep wood guide with that long blade. They have to run a stock guide as well, or a CH10, which is the screw-in version of the stock guide. So um, those are really some of the bigger differences between them. Other than that, the um, the Houston track being tighter would definitely facilitate a little bit more weight for a little bit more downforce carrying these cars through the turns. Whereas here, definitely more flowing open turns where speed is all of the essence of carrying a fast lap. It's carrying the momentum because it's not very start and stop. It's a lot of the S's there here in the back straight that has a swooping turn to it. It's all about carrying speed. So if you have a car that's set up well, it'll be able to do that as opposed to bouncing around or raising 1 or 2 wheels in those turns. So very big difference between those. And we are getting close to start time here for the first heat. We are we are ready to go for heat number 1. It looks like now we're bringing the racers up to grab their controller. So we have, for our racers, again, we have David, John, and Mark. And so Mark will be in the green lane again. David's in yellow, and John will be in blue. So we will be starting here momentarily. Once again, this is a 6-race series between the Houston Slot Car Club and the Austin Slot Car Club. And it's a proxy race, which is unusual that it's running at only 2 tracks. But the beauty here is that during these COVID lockdown times, it allows for our club and their club to have a limited number of people at the track and be able to run a large number of cars from members that can't attend, but have the ability to prepare a car and send it off so somebody else can run it. So proxies are really a great thing to be running in the lockdown time of COVID, because it doesn't take as many people to be at the track to be able to do those races and hold those events. So, and cars are being stickered up, ready to go. Track voltage is at 12 volts for these cars. These cars are running the stock black slotted 21K motor. Gearing is definitely tweaked depending on which car you're talking about. So, for example, the cars that are at the sharper end of the grid, the cars that have run the fastest, are running either a 23 or 24 tooth crown on this track. That's with a 9-tooth pinion. Having said that, the car that's in front, David's, is running a 10-tooth pinion with a 25 crown, and so he's got his wheel RPM is significantly higher than most of the others. So his wheel RPM is at 8,000 RPM at the wheel. The closest one to that is the third place car of Alejandro, which is running an 8,200 RPM. So the second place car is 7,076 for fourth, 75, 76, 77. Everybody's around the 7,700 mark, 76 mark, with the exception of that leading car at the 84, 85. Now, the trick is you can run a faster wheel RPM as long as your car is stable. But running a faster wheel RPM with a car that's not set up properly is just diabolical to drive. So, that being said, looks like we are ready to start. Racers are ready. Our timing marshal is ready to go, and let's get this thing started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yay, first lap, no crashes.
Yellow flag. 3, 2, 1, go. New race leader.
And cars are setting some quick times already. We've got the lead car, Russell's car from Austin, and
3, 2,
Ari's car
1, go.
battling it out 6 laps in.
Driver best lap.
Fast lap so far is not that quick at a 4.1. Usually at about a 4.0 or even a high 3.9 has been setting the pace. Lap. These cars are doing a good job. The traction's working well for all these cars, actually. You know, when you're running a proxy race, so much of it is about just getting the feel for the car. And so your first few laps are sort of spent getting a feel for how it brakes, how it drives. And even if you've test driven that car for a couple laps prior to the race, it's always so different when you get into the race conditions. You know, there's that red mist that takes over, and the way you drive definitely changes. So it's first few laps are always spent sort of getting a handle on how a car behaves and handles. So even if you have a great car, a lot of times it's or a well set up car, it's a matter of the driver getting to terms with how does it brake, how does it accelerate, how much can you push it going through some of the turns without launching it. So right now we've got Ari's Alpha in the lead. Looking really good, nice and stable with David driving it. Second place,
halfway through the heat.
is Russell's Alpha, followed very closely by Paul in his Opal from Houston. So that car looks really good. Paul's car in pre-race warm-up looked really, really
Yellow
quick.
flag. 3, 2, 1, go. Driver best lap. Two minutes left.
2 minutes remaining. Ari's car is still out in front.
Driver best lap.
David's coming to terms with it, giving it a good drive. Still fast lap is at 4:1:15, so not super quick yet.
Driver best lap.
So Ari's car, we talked a little earlier about tire selection and which tires were being used, and Ari's Alpha is one of the only two that has a different tire choice than the rest of the car. So his car is running the slotted N22s. And of course, those tires, like almost all the tires, are going to be glued onto the rims. So when you have a tire that's got that much traction, you want to make sure that the edges are glued down to the wheels so that they don't chatter as much going into the turns. You also want to make sure that outside edge on those tires is rounded, has a nice round profile to it so that it doesn't bite and grip and make it difficult for that tire to smoothly go around a turn. So
yellow flag. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, now we've got all the racers into the 4:1s for their best lap. So everybody's getting their times down as they get comfortable with the cars.
30 seconds left. Twenty seconds left.
Coming to the end of this first heat.
Yellow flag.
The first of many heats here today. Actually, the first of 14 heats
2,
total.
1, go.
And each heat here is
10
5
seconds
minutes. So
left.
each car gets 5 minutes per lane.
5 seconds
Yellow
left.
flag.
Just confirming Russell has tires on his car. Looks like he does. We're good. So here we have a situation where front tire. I'm sorry, the what? Okay, we'll take a look at it. Okay, we got 5 seconds. Let's run this heat, and we'll
3, 2, 1, go.
It's like in all of these races, the
Heat over.
director gets to work on the car, and he's the only one that's allowed to work on the cars, which that's actually me. So we'll take a look and see what that looks like. Take a look at Russell's car and see what we need to do to tweak it and adjust it accordingly, so it can still finish. Mark, can I see that? Okay. Yes, sir, I do. Okay, so here is the situation with Russell's car. So we're going to do a little work on it and get it back to working. So we're going to go leave the mic here for a second.
Race starts in 60 seconds. Race starts in 30 seconds.
Okay, where does Russell's car go? Okay. All right, there we go. We're back now after working on Russell's car and getting it repaired. Small situation with the bumper on the Alpha where it had come loose and was actually forcing the front end down a little bit. So we used the vaulted racer's tape to repair that, put it back in place, and use some racer's tape to keep it in place. So it definitely looks much better and should perform better for the next heat that it comes back in, which will be towards the end. It'll actually be the 13th and 14th heats. All right, we have a new car coming into the mix. So this is David's car coming into the mix, and David's actually going to be driving his own car. Something tells me we'll see a fast lap here. I'm just guessing, but David sat the fastest lap in the first two races. So I'm going to bet he's going to do the same thing here. So let's see what it looks like. See if he can beat 3922.
3, 2, 1, go.
And
Best lap.
there we go, 3971 on the second lap. So yeah, I'm going to bet we're going to see a low 39 or a 38 from David driving his own car. Yeah, 3908. So there we go. Fastest of the series yet on the fifth lap. Obviously, David's tires are in good shape. Hooking up. Oh!
Yellow flag.
Little D slot there.
3, 2, 1, go.
Still 3908 for the Opal from David, who's also listed on the screen as Butch. You see that. So once again, this is a proxy race. So there's 14 cars entered in this proxy race. Every car gets driven by every racer here, so it's everybody has an equal opportunity to succeed or fail, as the case may be. And then the cars are run. The cars are run on the Austin track for 3 races.
Go.
Each heat being 5 minutes, so they're going to be running for 15 minutes on the track here before they end up making their start in Houston, and they'll be doing a similar situation down in Houston where there's going to be 3 races down in Houston. Each of the heats down there, I believe, is 3 minutes for those guys. So a little different, a little shorter races than what we have here in Austin. But the proxy race is pretty simple. There's a set of rules that are a common set of rules that everybody builds a car to. And in this case, we're using the slotted car. And the reason we're using the slotted car is because it's really such an easy car to work on. It's the best bang for your dollar out there. You get such great quality components within the car that it is easy to be able to build into a series like this where you're looking for cars to be as evenly matched as possible from the manufacturer to start with. And so once you have a great car like the slotted car, we've selected the DTM line of cars because those cars are readily available. They're gorgeous looking cars. For those that have never watched a DTM race, it's they're incredibly fun to watch. It was effectively the equivalent of a road course NASCAR race in
Three,
Germany. So a lot of
two,
bumping,
one,
a lot of excitement, and a
go.
lot of great drivers that started within that series or that moved to that
Yellow
series.
flag.
So right now we have a little bit of a battle between the Alpha and the Opal.
Three,
See if we can get through
two,
one lap.
one, go.
About the D slot. A little contact again by the Opal. So you build a car to a set of rules. So we're using a slot of
2
DTM
minutes
cars.
left.
You build the cars. They're primarily going to be a stock car with the only things that you're allowed to change
Yellow flag.
being the tires,
Three, two, one,
the
go.
guide. You can also change the body screws or the pod screws if you choose to. You can change the braid and the motor wires as well. So there are a few minor things that you can change. Nothing that's really going to have a big impact on your performance, probably other than the guide and the tires. So once you built that car, then it's a matter of putting some weight in there and tuning it to the degree that you can have a car that's going to be stable for anybody to drive. Because in reality, a proxy race is all about building a car
Driver
that's
best
stable
lap.
to drive for anyone. It's not about building the all out fastest car because generally you're going to find that's going to come back to haunt you as more cars as a car is difficult for one of the
60
drivers
seconds left.
to drive around the track and get a good lap time in. So you want to definitely make sure that you are building a stable car that is easy to drive. And so in this series, that's definitely what the cars that have excelled are those that are you can visually watch the car go around the track and see how stable they are and how easy they are to drive. So that makes a very big difference.
30 seconds left.
So this heat's about to come to an end.
20 seconds left.
And all the breakdown on the parts that are used on the winning car here, we've got a section called Under the Hood that is up
10
on
seconds left.
our the Austin Slot Car Club website and our Austin Slot Car Club
5
Facebook
seconds
page.
left.
And you can visit either of those two, and you'll see what the inside looks like
Heat
on one of
over.
the winning cars here. So definitely worth time to check that out and see how somebody else builds their car. All right, there we go. End of the second heat with, not surprising, David setting the fastest at 73 with a fast lap of 3.9. Fastest lap so far within the series at a 3.908. So his fastest time last time was a 3.922. So he improves on that as well. In between heats, the racers have 2 minutes to switch cars and make sure that their car, clean the tires on that car, make sure that the car is ready for the next round. So we've got the racers all getting the cars ready, tires cleaned, lanes switched, and the car that comes out will have its total laps written down. So this will be the last heat for Ari's Alpha.
Race
Right now he's got
starts in 60 seconds.
139 laps, which is a decent total for two heats. So we'll see what that looks like for Ari. All right. And the car that's coming into the mix is an Opal,
Race
another
starts
Austin
in
Slot
30
Car Club
seconds.
member. It's Mark. It's one of our drivers. It's one of his cars, and so it's coming into the race in the yellow lane. So David will give it 5 minutes of his attention here. We'll see how that goes.
Race starts in 10 seconds. Race starts in 5 seconds.
All right. Be careful of those walls.
5, 4,
Here's the start of the
3,
third heat.
2, 1, go.
Once again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that first lap is super slow as everybody
Best heat lap.
gets a feel for the car before they start to push it deeper in a turn or accelerate quicker coming out of a turn.
Best heat lap.
So these are all Austin cars that are in here now.
New driver record. New driver
You guys are
record.
doing a great job. John's getting David's Opel down to the 3990. That's really
New
quick
driver
lap for
record.
him with that car. So once again, that's a car that not only can be driven by the guy that built it, but it's by somebody else and a great time be put in on a lap at a 3979. That's phenomenal. So back to the Proxy, once you've built this car to these specs, that traditionally you would send those cars to an individual or to a track where they would start a Proxy series. And the Proxy race, Proxy would start at one track and all the cars would run on that track. And then they would end up going to another track, and they may be different surfaces. So you might find somebody is going to be racing on a Scalextrics or Carrera plastic track or an Inco plastic track, and then make their way to a routed wooden track that has, you know, an eggshell painted finish. They may go to a routed track that's got a gloss, super sticky gloss finish. So it's being able to build a good Proxy car is really an art because it's something that you're building a car that can do
Yellow
everything.
flag.
All right, we just had a 2-car D slot, so we'll stop action as we go. Of the little intra Opel battle, Opel on Opel, and
3, 2, 1, go.
Ari's Alpha is stable as all get out, still doing a great job. I see it up on its 2 wheels in that tight turn down in green. Riding on 2 wheels numerous
Halfway
times
through
in
the
there.
heat.
Oh. There. David's Opel running fast as always. Two cars are racing really close, side by side. See if we can avoid contact with these two guys, and the Opel and the Alpha. And there the pass was made. The Opel is in front.
2 minutes left.
Oof. So in the series that we're running, if you win, you get points awarded. So the point system goes from 20th for first place, 19, 18, 17, and on down the line. So the point system is a little different. Some point systems have bigger gaps for the first place car. We don't have a big gap for that because we want it to be as competitive as possible. In a car that finishes second or third, not to be 5 or 6 points off after one race. So we allow there's only a 1 point difference. So you really, if you win it, you really have to earn your placings and your overall placings. So the field that we had was Opel dominant. There were more Opels than anything else, and then
Yellow flag.
the next car that we had were the Alphas, and then the last car we had
3,
was
2, 1.
the Mercedes, and primarily Mercedes was a brand new platform for slotted. So we've got 3 Mercedes in the mix of the 14 cars. But I tend to think we'll see more Mercedes as we run the series again in the future. Not only that, but I'm sure that Slotted
30
has
seconds
plans
left.
for some additional cars. I can't fathom having a DTM series without a BMW in it. So I'm sure
20
that we'll
seconds
see,
left.
hopefully, Maurizio, if you're watching or listening, love to see a BMW German touring car.
10
So give me
seconds left.
a DTM BMW, please.
5 seconds left.
All right. And the third heat just about wraps up with David's
Heat
car
over.
getting 71 laps to Ari's 68. So Ari finishes with a total of 207.5 laps. So he's finishing with 207 laps in his. To put that in perspective, Ari's first race was 203 and his last race was 211. So he's right in the middle there at 207 laps. Now, that being said, in order to get that 211 laps, Ari was actually one of the racers in our last race. So he was driving his own car to get to that 211.36. So not really surprised there. Totally see him end up finishing well in this series. 207 laps in the last race would have put him at fifth. So we'll see how the rest of the cars do. It's still too early to tell since Ari is the first one to finish all three heats. If anybody's got any questions, please don't hesitate to go to YouTube and post something. Post a question on the comments field. We'll get back to those questions if anybody's got anything.
Race starts in 60 seconds.
Love to answer any questions anybody has. In this next heat, we've got Russell's Alpha coming into the mix. So this is one of the faster cars. Russell's Alpha won the first race, so it was the fastest car by far by 6 laps over the second place car in race number 1. And
Race starts in 30
in race number
seconds.
2 didn't have such a great outing, but is 5th overall with a total of 413 laps. So uh, even though he improved his lap count in the second race, there wasn't everybody else improved at the same time, so it wasn't enough
Race
to
starts in 10
get on
seconds.
top of the rest of them. So
Race starts in 5 seconds.
okay, 5 seconds for this race, and this
5,
is
4, 3, 2.
it's
5,
Russell Cox. My
4,
bad. Russell
3,
Cox from
2,
Houston, so not Russell
1.
from the Austin Club.
Go.
So Russell's running the Mercedes. So there's our first Mercedes in here. Russell's car. Yes, Russell's car was the one we had in the last race where the pinion and the crown mesh was terrible. And ended up by the final heat, we had a bunch of metal shreds. He was basically shredding
Next heat
his
lap.
crown gear. So there was a little bit of work done between the last race and this one to
Next heat
replace
lap.
that crown gear, clean it all up, make sure it all looked good, and start him over again. So he is running with a lot better
Driver
pace
best
than he
lap.
did in that last race. So Russell Cox's car is actually doing much better. And even in the pre-race warm-up, that car was one of the more stable cars, and it was definitely the best of the Mercedes runners by far. So it was very well set up. So, and even going back to the first race with Russell Cox's car, the car was actually set up with the slotted 50 or 17-inch zero grip front tires, which are basically rubber bands that go over those front wheels. And what that did is it put the front end of the car so low that the chassis was scraping on the minor elevation changes we have on this track. So it was slowing up the performance and was making the car push so much from behind that it was a difficult car to control. So there were changes made to the tires on that car, as well as adjusting the front end up a little bit, and to the crown gear, because the car could not have competed in this round without a replacement of that crown gear. And so, written into the proxy rules we have here, those changes are allowed to be done to that car to make sure that it can continue and finish the rest of the rounds. So it's doing much better. Super close race here. Everybody is within a lap of everybody else. So love to see everybody racing that close here.
Halfway through the heat.
Great to see that Mercedes keeping pace with the Opels. This will be a good result for Russell's car. If we get 2 more solid heats, that'll put him up the finishing order and the final results going back to his track, which is just a huge advantage for him to be able to get back to Houston in a decent position where he's definitely going to be gaining some additional ground on these Austin cars. So the Austin cars either make up the ground here or deal with the consequences headed down to Houston and racing on having their cars run on a track they've never seen or run on, which is very similar to it's identical to what the guys in Houston are doing. This COVID thing clears up. I'd love to see us go down to Houston and have the Houston boys come on up here to our track and run in a race or two where we can both actually run our cars on those tracks. If you're watching this now, this is some great racing. Literally everybody is on the same lap, and it is tight. Drivers are all being respectful for the most part.
60 seconds left.
Coming down to the final minute with everybody on the same lap. I don't know how you get racing any closer than that, and how Slot it's able to build cars that are so comparable with each other. The Group C cars are very similar in fashion. Great driving cars, great performance.
30 seconds.
You can go online and for $60, get yourself a car that's an amazing car that has detail and performance like you cannot imagine for that amount of money.
Ten seconds left. 5 seconds left. Heat over.
There we go. Heat over. Let's see. Russell's car at a 4151. 4151. So for Russell, that's the fastest lap your car has set so far. Your fastest time prior to that, when we did the chassis adjustment, was a 4275, and now it was a 41. So another big improvement in getting that gear mesh fixed in the back. So that will definitely help. Who just finished all 3 heats? Did you, David? What's your lap total? So David's car just finished, so it's out now at a lap total of 213. Let's put that in perspective. His last race was 215, so he's down on that by 2 laps, and then but it still puts him way out in front. So we'll see. That definitely shows that there's a little change of order with some of the cars. So let's see how it goes for the rest of the heats. So we've got our 5th heat coming. The new car into the mix is another Alpha. This is the Alpha of, well, it's my Alpha. So my Alpha will be running here, my Bosch Alpha. Why does my car look different? because it has the front winglets on it, and that was the 2000 or 1996 model was the deal. So it is a newer model than the other alphas. So here again, I'll give props to Slot It for spending the money to design a new body, a car that was a 1 year only for 2006, but the body is different on that car with the little winglets on the front of it. So it is and different mirrors on that car as well. The truth be told, the mirrors were put on that car to help the wind flow go to the rear wing better. And they had some issues getting that passed by the FIA, but they were finally able to prove that it was a mirror. It wasn't just an aerodynamic device, but in reality, it was an aerodynamic device that helped the airflow over the sides of the car so it hit the rear wing better. All right. So we are about ready to get this one started. Hey, David, let's give it a good ride. Okay, here we go.
5,
Fifth heat.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, that's a fast lap. Oh, my word. What was that, a 3? Oh, 5. All right.
Best heat lap.
Guys are cranking off fast laps already. David's got the Alpha at a 4:05. Russell's car is running really well. Looking good.
Yellow flag.
First D slot on lap 5.
3, 2,
So this is
1, go.
Mark racing Mark's own car in the green lane. So he should have an advantage being able to set a pretty quick time with his own car, his own setup. Here comes the Alpha on the Mercedes. Oh, there was nothing there. So as far as advantages in the cars, coming back to the car conversation between the different slottets, as I said earlier, the performance is very close between them, and so much of it depends on who set the car up, how much weight's in it, where the weight is, the balance of the car. With the series, the car that is leading the series is the Opel, but then there's an Alpha right behind it, so it's not an Opel dominated series by any stretch, even though that car definitely is a little lower compared to the Alphas and the Mercedes, which are a taller center of gravity car. If you can adjust the weight accordingly within those Alphas and the Mercedes, you have a great running car. And here again, that also depends on the track you're running on.
Halfway through the heat.
Halfway through, we're all within a lap of each other. Here again, it's crazy how close things are. Trying to get Russell's car down into the 4.1s. It's got a 4.27 right now. You know, and some of the ways that these cars are set up work so much better for some of the racers than others. So it's not always a
2
given
laps left.
that they're all going to be the same. So that noise you hear in the background, if you hear like a car noise, a car passing, that noise right there says that they just set a fast lap for their lane.
Yellow flag.
All right.
3, 2,
Minor D slot.
1.
Back again.
Go.
Back again, running. Coming up on a minute to go.
60 seconds left.
Still really, really, really close all the way around. So after this race, we'll do another one of the series of Under the Hood.
30
So
seconds left.
if the first place car is David's again, we'll go to the second place car and we'll look underneath the hood of what the second place car is and see what the setup looks like for that car. And in this proxy race, these cars are going to be allowed to have a
10
change of
seconds left.
tire and guide between this track and the Houston track.
5 seconds
So
left.
it is a little unique from a proxy standpoint that you're allowed to change some of the settings between them.
Heat over.
71 laps. Got close. All right, so who came out? Who's coming out of this one? Mark, what do you get as a total? 204. Another 204. With the Opal coming out from Mark. And now we've got another Mercedes coming in. We've got another Mercedes coming in here. We've got the similar livery. All right. As the racers get their cars ready for the next round. We've got this will be the last heat for Russell Cox's car going into the green lane with 136 laps. That's a good count for that. Like I say, Randy's car is coming into the mix. He's the Mercedes with the Karcher livery, very much like the one that's already out there. So it'll be interesting. We're gonna have to make sure that the racers, that the drivers understand there's two cars with a similar livery, right? So want to make sure we're visually looking at the one that's red wing on the back and one that's got the yellow wing on the back. All right. I think we're just about getting. John, you take your time, okay? I don't care what that call was, but whatever it was, it's unimportant. Unimportant. You don't get your blood pressure up because you're about to run that alpha. Can I get you something? Oh, I guess it is. I was more concerned about your health, but I guess yes. All right. right, here we go. Sixth heat of 14. With the new one coming in, the other Mercedes. So we'll see how Randy's
5,
Mercedes does.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, yeah.
Best heat lap.
Some best heat laps already.
Yellow flag.
All right, so we do have a little problem. One of the cars we're going to fix here real quick. We've got some slag buildup on this car that just makes it undrivable. And usually this would be cleaned before the heat, but looks like it might have been missed on this one. So we're going to clean it up, make sure it's ready to go. We're cleaning both the rear tires. This car is David Cox is again from Houston, which this car has really had a rebirth today and done well. So, oh, I found the problem. The passenger side rear view mirror is dangling. It's dangling. So I think we have some issues with the visibility. Okay. All right. So now I believe we're ready to give this another try. Okay. All right. Sorry for the delay there. It's good to get that problem resolved. You know, if you're working on a car and prepping a car and you're sending it off to somebody, it's always you want every opportunity you can for that car to be able to compete on a level playing field. So we're a little lenient when it comes to stuff like that. I always hate it when
2,
car gets put out
1,
just because of something
go.
simple. And it is back on form. Looking good for its final heat. Russell, your car's looking great here, bud. I think that the tires have
Yellow
cooled
flag.
down on the other Mercedes, though, so that didn't help it at all, that
3,
break.
2, 1, go.
There we go. I shouldn't have cleaned the tires of the Mercedes. It's now racing with mine. You owe me, Russell. Just remember that when my car's in Houston. Kidding, of course. Not.
Best heat lap.
Best heat lap with a 4166.
Best heat lap.
Another one, 4162.
Best heat lap.
4097. Best heat lap. Yeah, John, that car works well right up until the magnet lets go. Actually, just kidding. There are no magnets. That's one of the things the series here is we do not use magnets in the series, so probably should have said that earlier on in this conversation about the Proxy. So these cars are all magnet free, with generally any spot that did have a magnet being filled in with a lead weight of some type or another, or a tungsten slotted weight that fits right into the spot.
3,
All right, so we got the two
2,
Mercedes lined up on the
1, go.
straight. There we go.
Halfway through the heat.
Halfway through. The Alpha's up on them by a couple laps. But the Mercedes are looking good.
Yellow
or we're
flag.
looking good.
3, 2, 1, go! Two minutes left.
All right, we got 2 minutes left to go here in the sixth heat. Close racing. Still lots of cars to come out that we haven't seen yet. It's the beauty of this as well, is there's so many different ways that people went about building their car and distributing the weight. You know, if you go to the website or go to the Facebook page, you'll see all the different setups as far as not only the weight, but tires that were used. And the weight distribution on the cars are listed on there, so you can get a true idea of front to rear weight
Yellow
balance
flag.
on those.
3, 2, 1, go!
Just got to be awake. You got to be awake when that turns
60
green.
seconds left.
You can't be sleeping. Cars are super stable. The one Mercedes, the Randy's Mercedes, has a little trouble coming out of the big turn. A little had a couple barrel rolls.
Yellow flag.
Little contact there between Randy's car and the Alpha.
3, 2, 1, go! 30 seconds left. Yellow flag.
Is it in the slot? Is it in the slot? Okay, let's try it again.
Three.
Oh, we might have a problem with another Mercedes.
1, go!
There we go. See, that's what you get for passing that Alpha like that, for knocking it out. It's got that Mercedes button on the
20
inside.
seconds left.
Not only that, but it does emphasize you do need, if you own a Mercedes, you do need to get the authorized service.
10 seconds left.
You can't just expect it to run without getting the service done.
5 seconds left. Heat over.
All right. 70 laps. Very close, very close. All right, so Russell's car comes out with 201 laps. So that's the first Houston car to come out. And Russell's coming out with 201 laps, which is still more than his last race, which was at 200. So that's a full lap plus over that. So it was good to see that car improve over what it did last time. Whoever has Russell's Mercedes, can you guys look underneath it and see if it's got the metal shards, or was that totally cleared up? Yes, sir. The Mercedes? Is it nice? All right. So it is problem solved. All right. Well, there we go. All right. And we have Ken's car coming into the mix. So we have another Houston car coming in here. And Ken's car, I believe, is the Alpha. Is that? Yeah, it's the Alpha. Beautiful looking Alpha.
Race starts in 60 seconds.
And it's been having its tires tended to, cleaned up, ready to go. Those are N22s. Those are 22s. Yeah, so that's the comment was made that the tires on my
Race
Alpha look
starts in
clean,
30
and
seconds.
that's those tires are the N22s, which don't always hook up, but do well when it's a little bit more, when it's a little colder or when the track is a little dusty. And right now, track is immaculate. Track condition today was incredible. The track is the cleanest I've seen it in a long
Race
time.
starts in 10 seconds.
There's been some work done on the headquarters here to help insulate it a little bit better to help keep some of the dust and stuff from coming in, and that's definitely made a difference.
5,
So
4,
here we go with
3,
heat 7
2,
of 14.
1, go.
And some quick laps being done already. You hear that noise? That means there's fast laps being recorded.
Yellow flag.
That's Randy's car coming out again. Definitely has
3, 2,
some issues on
1,
acceleration
go.
for that Mercedes. In fact, I looked earlier. That car was actually running BF Goodrich tires. It seemed to have a lot of traction coming out of that turn.
Best heat lap.
Rumor has it here that it might be an experimental compound BF Goodrich tire. BF Goodrich tires can be found at all your quality auto tire dealers out there. Don't hesitate to look them up, especially during the holiday weekend like this. Before you get out there and do any traveling, it's always great to check your tires and take it by an authorized BF Goodrich dealer.
Yellow flag.
Small Alpha coming out.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. That's looking good. Ken's car's looking good.
Halfway through the heat.
Again, Ken's red. He's got the red Alpha, that one of those cars that was set up without any knowledge of this track whatsoever. So that's impressive. It's doing that well compared to the locals. And there's just one more reason nobody should be scared about holding a Proxy, even if you haven't seen a track that you're going to be running on or
2
run on
minutes
it.
left.
It's a great opportunity to get some cars put together, get them out there, send them around, and keep your club racing. Keep them interested in the activity while we're all sort of under this crazy COVID lockdown.
Yellow flag. Three, 2, 1, go.
John's doing a great job with Randy's Mercedes. Right up until he rolled it, as those words came out of my mouth, he was doing great. I'm not going to jinx anything. Thank you, though.
Yellow flag. 3, 2, 1, go.
Coming up on 1 minute to
60
go.
seconds left.
This will be the heat where Marty comes out of the mix with his car. So we'll see where his lands compared to the others.
Thirty seconds left. Twenty seconds left. Ten seconds left. 5 seconds left. Yellow flag. 3, 2, 1, go. Heat over.
Oh, all right. So 210 with a total for Marty's car. And David, you were at 211? 213. Oh, my word. 213 still holds the top right there. So with 210 being number 2. So we'll see how, we haven't seen a lot of cars yet. So we'll see how the rest of them perform. But I'm sure we're going to see some real close racing. So at 210, it's putting things in perspective. The last time Marty's car ran was at 211. So it's one lap down on where it was last time. Well, that was a good heat. A lot of close racing there. Right about there. It literally, like right there. Yep. So Mark was looking at where the fractionals were, and you know, as you think, well, fractionals really aren't that big of a difference. I mean, what's the difference between a tenth of a lap or a 20th of a lap? Well, in our previous races, a tenth of a lap or a 20th of a lap has meant the difference between places. So it does make a big difference where a car finishes. Every tenth of a lap makes a difference, and the track is split up into tenths.
Race starts in 30 seconds.
Going back here? No, he's over there. I saw him.
Race starts in 10 seconds.
What does it say on the bottom?
Race starts in 5 seconds.
All right, we are getting the next car in, which is Jeff's from Houston. Here. Doesn't say what it is, but yeah. All right, Jeff. Another Houston car coming into the mix. So we'll have 2 Houston cars on the track at the same time. And Jeff's car is an Opal. So it'll be great to see that run. And Jeff's car was not the fastest in the first race. It had some issues that we tended to for the second race. Once again, it was a similar situation. The front end was so low on that car that it ended up grinding the front end on the track and making it much harder to handle than it should have been. So work was done on Jeff's car between the first and the second race. That's why it improved by 8 laps between the first and second race. I don't think we're going to see an 8-lap improvement into this race, but I'm sure we'll see a difference as well as the car has more time on track. So we're in a bit of a holding pattern as we just get the cars ready making sure everything looks good, is ready to go. Everything has got stickers on it for lane stickers. All right. And I think we are getting ready to run this next heat.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And there we go. They're off. Jeff's Opal looks real stable. That Old Spice.
Best heat lap.
Looking good. Actually, all the cars are looking pretty good here.
Best heat
Randy's
lap.
car in green's a skippy little one, but uh-oh. Yeah.
Best heat lap.
I think Randy's car had a tire come off, but it has now reseated itself.
Yellow flag.
Once again, another reason you'd want to go ahead and glue your tires would be that one right there. So those
3,
edges can
2,
lift up
1,
and off
go.
of a rim, and it makes it seem like the car's handle really poor. But it's just like they're bouncy, and that's basically just a tire that's come off the rim. What glue do you use in gluing down slotted tires to the rims? The glue that we have found the best success with here has been shoe goo. Just a little bit of shoe goo inside the slotted tire before you install it onto the rim, and then you want to squish the tire onto the rim with your fingers and make sure the glue is moved around to all the edges on the inside. And once you have that glue stuck in there, then you want to go ahead and let it set up, and then you want to true that wheel and true that tire down. But you want to wait till you have it glued in first, because the glue will add there's too much glue on the inside for you to true the tire. Take it off, put the glue on, and put it back on. The tire will not be true after that. So it's always best to true the tire after the glue. A little catch on shoe goo as well is you don't want to buy the ginormous tube, because generally it's a one-use deal almost for the tube. Shoe goo does not work as well on the second or third use. It doesn't have the same viscosity as it does after the first use. So if you're buying shoe goo to glue your tires, make sure you buy a small tube. There's even a small sample size you can get that works really, really well. Highly suggest that as opposed to spending $5 on a bigger tube that you're only going to basically use once or twice. Shoe goo is also a highly recommended if you are going to be gluing the wings. So on these cars, the rear wings on some of the cars, other than the Mercedes, hang off the back end of the car, and it's a great idea if you shoe goo the underside of the wing and the wing struts. And what that allows the wing to do, it has a little bit more flex before it would break. And so it definitely reinforces your wing and helps hold it on. So it's a good idea to shoe goo the underside of your wing and the struts that hold up that wing. It's always a good thing. So this heat has not been the most trouble-free. We've had more incidents in this heat than we've had in some of the previous ones. The racers are now settled in. Looks like getting a better feel for it. We've gone 3 or 4 laps with no D-slots. That's a positive. So the Shore 30 tires that are used here, they will, over the period of these 3 races, you can actually wear out a pair of Shore 30 tires on the track. And if you look around, you will see where there is actually some rubber balls hanging around in the corners where the short 30 tires are starting to shed a little bit and be shredded by the surface. All right, we're coming up on 30 seconds to go with Jeff and Ken. Jeff's car is in
30
front.
seconds left.
Looking good. An Opal being driven by David, who has himself an Opal. So getting the cars,
20 seconds left.
you're probably feeling a little more comfortable with that car.
10 seconds
10
left.
seconds to go. Some fast laps being set out there.
5 seconds left.
Very close racing. Here again, all within a lap. All within a lap. That's great. Jeff's car on top with a fast lap of 4.245 in yellow. That's looking good. So let's look at some compares. Jeff's fastest time was in the last race at a 4.155. So we'll see how that car sets up. We have the next car coming in is Alejandro's car, which is an Austin Slot Car Club member, and he's got the yellow Opal. In his car overall, Alejandro's in third place overall in the standings. So it'll be interesting to see how his car performs here. First race it did 203 laps, and the last race it did 211, which was a huge improvement. It's funny enough, Ari also had a very similar improvement, running a 203 to a 211 in the second race. So let's see how Alejandro's car does in this race. How does Alejandro's car look?
Race starts in 30 seconds.
All right, drivers are sharing some thoughts on the cars as they go from one racer to the next. This is heat 9 of 14. Going by quick today. So we have another Opal coming into the mix. This is an Austin Slot Car Club Opal. Pretty standard setup with this one, with the F30s, with the wood guide, the CH07 wood guide. Not anything crazy about it.
Five,
And
4, 3,
here we go.
2, 1, go.
So David is driving Alejandro's car. So both David's car is an Alpha, or an Opal. So let's see how that works. And Jeff's car, which had a good first heat, in the second heat now is the other Opal in this one. All the cars are looking good, all in the same lap.
Yellow flag.
Oh, wait.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so Alejandro's car set the fastest lap so far with a 4:06 for its fastest lap. And in the last race, it did a 3.991. So there's still some room for that car to go a little quicker. There we go. That's a good look. All three cars together. Alejandro and Jeff's car on the same lap. Jeff just had a D slot, so now Alejandro's car is out in front. One of the other changes that was allowed to the cars was the front wheels. And all of the slotted cars do come with plastic front wheels that are press-on. Great wheels, they work well, they're all true, which is probably the key thing, is having them be round. I know that seems like all the wheels should be round, right? But that isn't always the case, but slotted always are. And though you were allowed to change the wheels to aluminum front wheels, so if you wanted to help change up the weight balance of the car a little bit, or have a wheel that was a little bit easier to true up, even the zero grip tires do need a little bit of truing. Some of them come in and they have an edge to them that you might want to take off that edge or round off the tires a little bit more, and that's what aluminum front wheels definitely help you to be able to do that without any issue, whereas the plastic ones, not so much. All right, we're halfway through with Alejandro with 35 laps. He's looking good. The fast Opal. But Jeff is right on him. Jeff's car is not far behind. Looking good. The other thing you can tell on these cars is that
2 minutes left.
Because the heats are longer, because you're talking about a 5-minute heat, so the cars are effectively going to run for 15 minutes and race for 15 minutes, and you'll find that the tires do break down in that period of time, and the performance will change in that car over those 15 minutes. So it's not like the car you start with is going to feel the same when you finish it. So being a driver that can adjust to the different changes that the tires and the performance of the cars have is a big difference in the success of that car as well. The all of the cars that race get to come off between heats, and the tires are cleaned. There's no new lubrication put on, but the tires are cleaned to make sure that there's no big rubber chunks hanging off of them, or that they're going to be able to start the next heat and run the next heat without any issue. So all that's done to each of the cars that run. So the cars finish here in Austin today. All of these cars get boxed back up and get shipped down to Houston, where the Houston Scale Auto Racing Club will be running the next 3 races. So the final race here in Austin. Looking forward to seeing the cars running down in Houston and seeing how those races go and what the results are. So it'll be fun to watch it from a distance and see how they do.
20 seconds left.
So those races will be in December and the first or second weekend in January, and so the series will actually wrap up in 2021.
Yellow flag.
A little Opal on Opal accident there.
3, 2.
So the series will actually
1.
wrap up in 2021 in January with the last race at the Houston track. So
heat over.
And there we go. Alejandro's car with a 71 laps, a fast lap of 4:05.2. Very fast. All right. And who came out? And what was Ken's total? $192 for Ken. Ooh. Is that right? All right, so Ken finishes with a 192, which is down from the previous two races, 196 and 199, now down to 192. So bit of a fall off there in the lap count. I didn't really see anything that stood out to me that would have caused the big drop. I know there were some serious D slots in the green lane the last heat, but other than that, so right now all of the, if you're watching on the YouTube feed, you can see all the racers working on the cars, getting them ready to go, making sure that everything is ready to start. And the new one in the mix is an Opal from the Austin Slot Car Club. It's one of our racers' Opals, so it's John's Opal, which has been quick. So John's Opal was third place. John's Opal was in third place in the first race that we held, and it only missed second place by what is that? By half a lap, less than half a lap. So here again, it shows how close the racing is. All right, racers ready? A little racing fatigue here.
5, 4, 3.
All right,
2,
let's give it our all for these guys.
Go.
Except for that white Opal.
Best heat lap.
All right. Well, I'm gonna bet that an Opal wins this race or this heat, since they're all Opals. It's a pretty easy one. Got some two fast Opals there. We got Alejandro's yellow Opal that's studied some quick times, as well as John's Opal studied some quick times. And then we have Jeff's Opal, which is hanging on with the rest of them. Looking good. Oh boy, I tell you what. John's Opal is gaining on Alejandro's. Alejandro's got some traction issues coming out of the turns. It's chattering a lot, whereas John's Opal is just smooth, exiting the turns and entering the turns super, super smooth. You have 3 minutes. John's going to try to claw back that lap on Alejandro. Alejandro is flying. You know, when you get three guys that are racing as close as all of these cars are, it definitely improves everyone's performance. Everyone pushes a little bit harder because everybody is so close. So we're all within 2 laps.
Halfway through the heat. Yellow flag.
All right, first yellow flag here, halfway through, with Alejandro at 35 laps, John at 34,
3, 2,
Jeff at 33.
1. Go. Two minutes left.
All right, 2 minutes left. Oh, there goes the pass. There goes the pass where John is now ahead of Alejandro. A D slot put him in front. John and Alejandro looking like they're
lap.
chase each other down here. Fastest lap has been Alejandro with a 4:03.6, being driven by John.
60 seconds left.
Final minute. So close. John's finding some form again. He's pushing that Opal. He is not losing any ground.
30 seconds left.
In fact, I might say he's gaining ground. He's looking good. He's giving Alejandro's Opal a great drive.
20 seconds left.
Seems to be a little less chatter out of Alejandro's Opal coming into the
10
turns.
seconds left.
All going to depend on where
4
this thing
seconds
finishes. 2 seconds, 1 second.
Heat over.
Oh, and there you go. They both finished on the same lap. Both with 70 laps. Yeah, John had a fast lap of 4:07.2 and Alejandro a 4:03.6. Great result. Great result. Jeff, great run at 66 laps. A 4:2.75. All right. John Dietrich. So, John, we got your Alpha coming into the mix. Right. So, John Dietrich with the Jägermeister. The Jägermeister Alpha coming into the mix.
Race starts in 60 seconds.
That's a good looking car, the Jägermeister. What a great livery. Iconic on every level. Great to see that. Somebody select the Jägermeister Alpha to run. Michael Bartels actually raced that car in the DTM series. Did a great job. Unlucky in many events and had mechanical issues, but other than that, he had a couple good victories, and I thought represented the brand really well. All right.
Race starts in 10 seconds. Race starts in 5 seconds.
So we still have the two fast Opals out here. We have John's Opal, and John's Opal is actually being driven by John. So we'll see how he's able to drive his own car. David was able to put in 70 laps in the yellow lane. Let's see what happens in the blue lane with John driving his own car. Pressure's on, John. Alejandro finished two heats with 141 laps. That's a good result.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And
Go.
here we go. Start of the 11th heat. Shocking. John's car being driven by John is flying.
Best heat lap.
It's a good heat.
Best heat lap.
John Dietrich's car is having a great drive by David. Definitely flying. Car looks super stable on the back S's. John got his Opal to roll. Those things are such a low center of gravity. I'm surprised you can even roll one of those.
Best heat lap.
The best heat lap of 4:167 for John in his Opal. So gearing up for the track here that we run, we typically, like I was mentioning early on in the broadcast, is we do traditionally a 9-tooth pinion with a 24 or a 23 tooth crown. Very rarely was it a 25, especially on these 18K motors, or excuse me, 21K motors, the black end bells. We are running the track voltage at 12 volts. And that's what ends up with the result of everybody getting about a 7,700, anywhere between 75 and 7,700 wheel RPM.
Yellow flag.
Is by getting the track voltage to where it is and the gearing where it is. The only one that's any different than that was David and his Opal, who was running a 10-tooth pinion along with a 24-tooth crown, and that gave him the wheel RPM of 8,400. So that was much more, but like I said earlier, 8,400 sounds, oh, it's better, it's bigger, but it's also harder to control. So it's not an easy car to drive at that point. So there's always a trade-off, always a yin and yang when it comes to car setup. A lot of guys that would run more weight also then you have to worry about the straight line speed and the acceleration coming out of the turns if you've got so much weight in there.
Halfway through the heat.
Halfway through, we're all within a lap of everybody. It's great, man. David's doing a great job with John Dietrich's Alpha. And that's the Alpha that's got the biggest tires that I've ever seen put underneath a slotted slot car. So he's got the 12 millimeter width, and he's running P3s. So here's another tire. So it's short 30 and 22s, and John's out there on his own island with P3s, but they seem to be doing really well. Each of them is about 1.5 inches wide. I'm kidding, they're not, but they definitely occupy a fair amount of space underneath the back end of that car. All legal. Any slotted tire was allowed for the series, and that tire was selected by John to be his best chance of winning. So the fastest lap for this heat's a 4.09, and that's by John in driving his own Opal. Don't let him go, David. Push. Push. Boosa, boosa. Yeah, a lot of the cars that came up from Houston, we believe ended up with 25-tooth crown gears. So if you just even look at that, and you look at straight line speed on this track, they're going to be at a disadvantage automatically compared to the 24s or 23-tooth crowns that we're going to be running here. And it's hard to make up that much extra distance in the turns. So it can be done, but it's really difficult.
30 seconds left.
Gearing is a key, one of the big keys to success. So, all right, so we've got Alejandro coming in here.
20 seconds
3 laps.
10 seconds left.
Maybe another close one.
5 seconds left. Heat over.
Oh, the finish is 67, 68, and 70. Very, very close. Very, very close. So Alejandro finishes with 208, which puts him where right now on the leaderboard? Alejandro's in third place right now on the leaderboard. Now, we have not seen Russell's Shap Racer yet, have we? Oh, that's right. It was first heat. Yep. All right, so new one in the mix. We have another Mercedes, a beautiful green Mercedes. This thing is just stunning, this car. I don't know if anybody out there has seen the green Mercedes, the Devils Alt, but it is it is really beautiful car. And this one was set up by one of our club members. The interesting thing is it was set up by a club member, although they've run on our track, did not run this car on our track. So the car was completely set up without actually running on the track. So even though he's from the Austin Slot Car Club, the car has never turned a wheel on the track by the person that set it up. So definitely a challenge. Obviously, he has some knowledge on what the common setups are here, but it's so much different because where you're going to put the weight on these cars, how you're going to balance them, makes such a big difference in the final performance. So, but Mark can set up a car really well. So let's see what here again. Mark does a great job with a stable car. I don't think that Mark is going to set an all-out speed record. I don't think that's his intention in setting up a good proxy car to begin with. I think he's more interested in setting up a drivable, stable platform that everybody can have. So, and I think that's what he's got. I think that's what we ended up with. All right. How you racers holding up? 11 heats in. A little different than running 3 heats, huh? All right, here we go. Racers exchanging some notes on the cars before we start this heat.
5.
Mark's car is going to start his first heat with David driving it.
2, 1, go.
Here we go. Once again, first laps are always just discovery. I figure out what will that car do. That car will do quite nicely, thank you very much.
Best heat lap.
Good lap time out there.
Yellow flag. 3, 2, 1, go. Whoa.
All right, that Mercedes looks good. And a few D slots so far in this heat. Hadn't been a clean one.
Best heat lap.
As everybody's trying to find the limits of their car and what it can do. Nobody's driving their own car in this heat, so it's all a bit of experimentation.
Best heat lap.
We have Mark Tyler's car doing a great job out in front. So Mark is a great member of the club. Mark is also the owner of Immense Miniatures. So if you have never looked at Immense Miniatures figures, I highly recommend you do that because their stuff is really, really amazing. The quality of the driver's figures that Mark produces and sells, unparalleled. You cannot find anything like those in this industry or any others. It's they add so much to a car if you put a driver's figure in that is more realistic than some of the absolute insane pieces of plastic that they think are drivers that they put in some of the cars. I think NSR has got to be the worst. Not to call anybody out specifically, but they're the worst, hands down, for the driver figure that they have. I don't know who drew it or who came up with it, but not the greatest. Whereas I think Slotted does a decent job, Scaly does a good job, Carrera does a good job, but they're nothing like what you're going to find at Immense Miniatures. So definitely worth checking. I mean, it's great to go to the website to Immense Miniatures just to look at what is possible and look at the quality of the driver reproductions. They're pretty amazing, and it's not just like, oh, I have a generic driver. I'd like to get a driver for my Formula One car. No. Which driver would you like? Would you like Graham Hill, or are you more like Jackie Ickx or Mario Andretti kind of guy? So it's to that detail. Not only will the helmet and everything match, but the facial expressions. Mark goes to a lot of work to make those driver reproductions as close to real as possible. So check them out, Immense Miniatures. Great company, great individual, and obviously a great Proxy builder here. His car is in front with 52 laps, 49 for the other two. With a minute to go.
60 seconds left.
Fast lap is also owned by Mark at a 4.216. So car looks nice and stable.
20 seconds left.
But a tough heat for John's Opel. John Dietrich's Alpha's been doing really well. It's on the same lap as the Opel. They are about a half a lap apart at this point, going into the last 5 seconds. So very, very close racing.
Heat over.
And there we go. Lotus finishes with 2:05. John's got a 2 heat count of 133, and Mark has a 1 heat count of 68. That's good. That's a good count. All right. All right. Now we have cars coming back into the mix. So we've got the Austin Slot Car Club Alpha coming back into the mix. Who's on deck? I can't see that name from here. Got it. Thank you. Yep. Paul's got a nice Opel. That car is set up well. And it's festive, which should in and of itself count for bonus points.
Race starts in 60 seconds.
Yeah, we don't really have the livery of the race as an award, but there's not. Yeah, kind of kooky. Usually there's a custom livery, but Everything here is well, I don't know about custom. Let's just say he's got a better decal or a better Christmas decal set than the rest of us.
Race starts in 30 seconds.
Russell has what was that? Russell has big what?
Race starts in 20
Braids.
seconds.
And he cannot lie.
Race starts in 5 seconds.
So Russell was the one that had the little mechanical issue in the first heat. So now we are a few heats beyond that. All right. All right. So we've got Shap Racer coming back in. We've got Mark Tyler's car and John Dietrich's Alpha. For our next, this is our penultimate heat. Here we go.
Five.
Here we
Four.
go.
5, 4.
We thought we were going.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. It's a good heat so far. It's a great heat with some good cars in it. Russell's car is doing well. Looks like the repair worked. It's back on pace again. Nothing like a little racer's tape to fix a real car as well as a scale car. Now, Russell did take his car and change the number. So the number has been changed to protect the innocent. So Russell's car is running the Martini Alpha, but has changed the number to his favorite Chaparral number 65 number. So it's done in the same font that the Chaparral team uses for their car numbers. So, oh,
Yellow flag. 3.
Russell's trying to get it up on 2 wheels. That didn't work as well as
Go.
expected. Again, these races are all same lap. Every one of them, same lap. It's great. I love to see the fact that John Dietrich's Alpha is running so well in the green lane and is keeping pace with the rest of them. So for those that are listening that don't really understand, here's the
Yellow flag.
big difference between the Austin
3,
cars and the Houston
2,
cars. I'm going to
1,
reiterate this, that the
go.
Houston guys have not driven this track. They have not, other than seeing it in
Yellow
pictures,
flag.
they have not driven this track. And so to be able to set up
3,
a car
2,
and be able to do it in a
1,
way where you can still
go.
be competitive is pretty amazing. In fact, it's kind of scary. So we'll see what happens when their cars go back to Houston and the Austin guys have to set up our cars for their track. So it could be interesting.
Halfway through the heat.
It's the first time we've done a proxy like this, but I don't think it will be the last. I think that it's a great format for some cross-state competition on using a great platform like this.
Yellow flag. 3, 2, 1, go.
We had one wreck followed by another wreck. As they say in the real world,
2
yellows
minutes left.
breed yellows.
Yellow flag.
Yeah, there's a turn right there, you know.
3,
Just want to make sure we're on the same
2,
page.
1, go.
David's hoping that that alpha was an opal, but it's not. Meanwhile, Mark's Mercedes is just clicking off the laps, one after the other. No D slots, looking good, getting a great drive from John. We got 2 cars on the same lap and one a couple behind. Not a big
60
spread
seconds
difference-wise.
left.
If anybody ever is in Austin, Texas, you guys want to come by and check out the track, please go to the club's website. You'll find when the club is running. It's usually Saturdays, Saturday afternoons. The club is running, although right now we're shut down for COVID, and we've got restricted access to the club room. You can keep up with us by following the Facebook page
30 seconds
or
left.
our website. Either of those, they both have the same information on them. The website is a better place if you want to look at some of the archives and some of the races,
20
rules,
seconds left.
and learn more about the club itself. Whereas Facebook pretty much has the updates of everything we're working on and doing currently.
10 seconds left. 5
Shap
seconds
Racer
left.
has the fastest lap with a 4.074.
Heat over.
And that's it. 69, 68, and 65. Mark's car finishes with 69 laps. Nice. And a 2-lap total of 137. And Shap Racer has a 2-lap total of 136. And Paul is coming back into the mix in the yellow lane with a lap total of 132. So it's all still very, very, very close right now. And on the leaderboard right now, we have got David leading with a lap count of 211. Mark, is that David's total 211? 213? 210 by Marty, and then what's Barbosa? Is that 208 for Alejandro? So there you go. So we have got, those are the top 3 as it sits right now, but with Russell at 136, that could be a race
in 60 seconds.
taking place to get in there. So I don't know that they're going to finish the way they sit right now. In fact, let's do some math, shall we? So let's think. Going to be tough. Going to be tough for Russell to get up there in the top 3. I think we might end up having the top 3. He's going to need 78. No, 72. 72. Up top. Oh, there you go. Okay. So we're about to start our final heat, the 14th of 14. We're giving thanks for finishing. Is that? Got it. All right, so all the cars have been prepared, cleaned, made ready. And we are getting ready to put Paul's car back on the track. do a little prep work on it, make sure it's ready to go for our final heat. So the club's going to take some time off after this race. We're going to do some landscaping work on the track, and then we'll be back in January racing again, doing Group C, doing slot at Group C. I believe is probably what we'll end up doing, and that's those races will be broadcast live on YouTube as well. So those will be as well as being an archived later. So if you can't catch up and watch any of those live, you can always watch them archived. All right. Our racers are trying to. All right. So 14 heats for our racers. That's a lot of work, you guys. Nice, very well done. One more to go. Okay. In the final heat.
5, 4, 3,
Let's see if Paul's car can catch
1.
up.
Go.
We got Opal driving Opal here, so let's hear some fast laps. Oh, there it is.
Best heat lap.
Paul's Opal's running a 4-1 already. Looking good.
Best heat lap.
4-1-5-2 for the Opal.
Best heat lap.
4-1-6-3 for Russell's Chaparral Alpha. The Chaparral definitely comes up on that Mercedes under braking. Meanwhile, Paul's Opal just glides. Got a fast lap now of 4.051. So.
Best heat lap.
And now we've got the fastest lap of the heat being set by Chap Racer with a 4.988. Super fast for Russell's Alpha. Very well done by John driving that car.
Yellow flag.
And we have a D slot here for the Alpha. Russell coming back in.
3.
A little quick under acceleration.
1. Go.
Hey, everybody within
Yellow
one lap
flag.
of each other.
3, 2.
The Alpha came.
1.
The Alpha
Go.
came out for a little bit, went right back in. Ooh, a little bit of contact from the Mercedes. That Martini Alpha's got a little green Diebels Alt paint on the side of it now. $3,988 for Chap Racer for Russell in the
Halfway
Alpha.
through the heat.
And 4,051 for Paul in the Opal. Being driven by David. Driving it well. Mercedes and Alpha are together again.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes of the last heat of the last race in Austin, Texas for the slotted
Yellow
DTM
flag.
shootout.
3, 2, 1. Go.
Alpha got the jump on the Mercedes on the restart. I think the tires on that Mercedes are just about done. A little bit more chatter coming into the turns. We got Paul. Paul is at front with 54 laps being chased by Russell's Alpha, both on the same lap. This is it. That's the race right there. Both those cars.
Yellow flag.
Man, I hope you got insurance. That's all I gotta say.
3,
Because that
2,
totally rear-ended that
1,
car. The Alpha just
go.
rear-ended the Opel after it came out, but the cars never seem to function the same way once they've been hit. So let's just see how these two cars are after the impact. Oh, great. Now the Mercedes is in the mix. That's what we needed. 3 cars sideways through the turns.
30 seconds left.
How they did that, I don't know.
Yellow flag.
There should be bonus points awarded for that. That was very well done. Nice slow roll.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. The Opel got ahead of the Chaparral Alpha for now.
20 seconds left.
It's coming back. Look in your rearview mirror, Opel. Because here comes the Alpha.
10 seconds left. 5 seconds left.
Oh! And there it was.
Over.
Heat over. Wow. So Paul got 70 laps. Shap Racer 69 laps with a total of 205. Paul got a total of 202. And Mark with a total of 203. Fantastic. I'm not looking at. I can't see the leaderboard, but it's got to be close. Because every one of these heats was close. Every one. Is that me? Am I up there? Let's get fractionals in it and let's see what this thing looks like, because this is close. That's some of the closest racing from a series for that many people that we've seen. That's really close. So we've collected fractionals right now. They're being entered on the computer. So you'll see those results get posted as they get entered. So it'll all come down to what happens here. Steve, you got that right now? Okay. IT is entering the numbers right now. But that was a heck of a race right there. That was some really, really close racing through and through. All right, so let's see here. 208, 7, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. Wow. That is phenomenally close. So it's even crazier when you here again, if you do the math on it and you figure, it's 54 feet a lap and you're racing for 5 minutes. It's the difference in a lap is not very much. It's a second or two gaff, or it's a D slot, or just one D slot can make the difference between positions when everybody is within a lap of each other. So pretty incredible. So the results are being entered here. Well, at least we know who won. No one's getting near that. We know who's in second. And we know who's in third. So Alejandro finishing in third place. Marty in second and David in first. Ari, not far behind. Let's see what Alejandro's fractional is. But we are not. Difference between 207.61 and 208. All right, let's see. What did Alejandro get? What was Alejandro's fractional? Alejandro was 42. So yeah, less than a lap, an eighth of a lap. Oh, eighth of a lap. That's insane. All right. $203.8. Still tabulating, getting closer to having them all done. Before the results get finalized and the get verified. So we're getting close, figuring out some handwriting issues before we finish it all up here. Want to make sure we get it all entered correctly. All right, we're trying to figure out which Russell is which before we make sure we enter the right fractional to the right individual. So as soon as we get these entered here, we'll have the Electoral College vote. Wait a minute, that's a different one. All right. The recount's being done as we speak. There's fake fractionals. It's being claimed. Okay. And we're in. Everything has been plugged in. So the difference between Shap Racer and Lotus was 0.74 to 0.77. Again, like I said earlier, it comes down to even a tenth of a lap is the difference between places, and that's the difference between sixth and fifth. That's huge. What an amazing race. All right, so there we go. We have finished the third and final round from Austin of the slotted DTM Proxy race from here in Texas. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing how the cars perform in Houston. Please follow the Houston Scale Auto Racing Club online and go to their Facebook page, follow them on Facebook to see the final results for the last 3 races of the series, because we're only halfway there. So there's a lot of racing left to be done. So thanks so much for y'all joining us for this round as we now start to transition. So the cars will be mailed off. We're going to work on them. They'll be broken down, new guides put in, different tires installed, and then the tires will be shipped down to Houston. All right, so it was fun. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys next time in January. Everybody have a great, safe holiday. Everybody stay safe out there. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.